Aloha, welcome back to the Infinite Cup podcast. I am your host, Robert Breton. This is the Bananiac, and this is Tino. We really connected. I don't know if you guys have ever typed in vegan on YouTube before. If you have, you've definitely seen this vlogger, YouTuber, activist, whatever you want to call it. I mean, he's really an awesome guy. Tino is a fun, interactive person, really connected here, talking about all things veganism, really got more in depth with the nutrition, debunked a lot of the common myths like protein and all of that stuff, B12, you know what I mean? I can't tell you how many times I get those types of questions. So it was fun to just connect with a fellow YouTuber. He's also a podcast host. His podcast is called This is Bananas. His Bananiac subscriber, 70K plus subscribers on YouTube, really popular channel. This guy's in New York. He's a fellow cyclist. Awesome dude, really fun. I've been wanting to connect with a fellow vegan, like YouTuber for a while. This is a cool guy that you guys are just going to love. Very informative and just, like I said, promoting that vegan lifestyle. It's fun to just spread the love, spread the peace, spread the joy in the world, connect with someone a little bit more positive, and just really get this message across about how veganism is the answer. This is very simple. We don't have to overdo it or anything when it comes to this approach. And I'm going to quit yapping here. You guys just enjoy this show. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. Thank you for doing all the wonderful things that you do. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Without any further ado, here he is, the Bananiac, and I going heart to heart. Aloha. Yeah, well, cool. Yeah, just excited to connect with you. Like I said, it's been a while. Yeah, I've just been following you on the digital webs and everything, all the magic that you're putting out there. Your YouTube channel is great. All the podcasts that you have are awesome. I feel like, this vegan community is really, blowing up, and it's just getting better and better. So it's exciting times that we live in.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, thank you so much for having me on here. Like I'm always up for talking to different people, sharing different perspectives, and most importantly, just sharing this message, how important it is on so many levels. So really, thank you for giving me your platform to share this message with.
Yeah, dude, no problem. Really happy to have you. So let's just, start off with a little introduction for people that, haven't heard about you before. Just talk about what you do and what you've been putting out there for a while now. I know you're doing some really good things.
For sure. So my name's Tino. I'm known as Bananiac on the interwebs, and I started a YouTube channel back in 2013. I was changing my personal lifestyle back in 2012. I went vegan in 2012. However, I started learning about it in 2011. I grew up in a Greek house. Both my parents are from Greece. I was born here actually, but we've always kind of grown up in that culture. And as a Greek Orthodox, it's kind of expected that you fast for 40 days before Easter. And what I mean by fast is not your typical water fast or anything like that. It just means like giving up meat, dairy, all animal products, and even oil sometimes. So I had never done it until that point. I think I was like 20 or 21. I had never done it the whole 40 days. I did like a week being vegan. So I was like, whatever, like I want to do this for my state of mind. Like, I'm like, why have I never done this before? So I did it. I did the 40 days without any animal products. Then Easter Day came and I just decided to keep on going. I felt so good. I was losing a little bit of weight because, you can't lose a ton of weight in 40 days, but I lost a little bit. I was looking better. I felt better, had more energy. So it's like, yeah, dude, this is great. And then I started learning about the ethics side, the environmental aspects of veganism. And then I was like, wow, this all makes sense. And so I was so inspired to live that way, but also to share with other people. That way they at least know that this happens to the environment, the animals in your body. That way they can make a conscious decision. So I thought like a YouTube channel would be great to share this message with the internet. Everyone's on the internet. And I personally changed my career paths. Like I was a student back then when I first went vegan. I was an astronomy major, and I went from astronomy to nutrition. That way I could help people professionally, but also through this channel. So I've been doing it for, I don't know, like 7-8 years now. And it's been awesome, man. It's been a blessing. It's so gratifying to get this important information out to people to know about it.
Yeah, for sure. No, so awesome just to hear such an organic story too. I mean, I think a lot of people are just now connecting those dots. I mean, to hear someone come from that background with the Greek, or any sort of religious practice is really cool because the way that I mean, I had a similar experience myself, and then it's like the more you do the research, the more you figure out certain things. Like the word vegan is just a new word, and all these things were actually been around for quite some time. So now, because of the internet, right, it's like everybody demands transparency. And now, the factory farming, all that kind of stuff, the ethical side, the politics, the environment, you name it, it's like connecting all the dots. And what better way to, take action than just being vegan and, making that change yourself. So I think you get the same thing that I do as far as a lot of people that are just kind of new on the path, whether whatever direction they're coming at it from, whether it's health or like I said, environment or politics. And like you, I just want to share the message and get it out there and be that person to come to the light. A lot of people want to have all of that. I feel like everybody wants happiness, optimal performance. These words get thrown around a lot. So whatever we can do to be that anchor for people to come on board.
Definitely. And I love the fact that veganism is becoming more mainstream now. The fact that you can roll through a drive-through and get a vegan burger, like, tell them to hold the cheese, of course, but
Yeah,
like, what? Like,
I know.
isn't that crazy? Like, we never thought this time would come, and
Yeah,
now it's here, it's reality. And I also like the fact that when you say vegan, it's no longer that stereotypical answer. Like literally anybody could be vegan walking down the street. You have no idea. And I love that. I
yeah,
love that vegan is just like the norm now, and it's not like something niche. You know what I mean?
oh yeah, yeah.
It's
it's
amazing.
it's really come full circle. You're right. I mean, it's fun too because I have a lot of like activist friends that are doing a lot of fun things. I have a lot of health friends that are nutritionists and counseling. I love it all. So it's funny like how full circle, like how wide the spectrum is now, right? Before I got it, I mean, I've been vegan, let's see, over 11 years now. And it's something like when all of this started, there was no, trend. There was no cool thing about it. I was eating like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I didn't even know how to cook or anything. But now it's like, it's definitely, come full circle, like I said, to where you can have amazing food. And like you said, it's even available at fast food restaurants. Now, I definitely didn't see this coming. Like, I thought it was going to be way longer before we would ever see it at fast food chains and stuff. But you just got to follow the dollar, right? I think these big corporations aren't stupid. They see where the money is going and they want to get it. So they're going to do what it takes to have plant-based options. And yeah, it's just exciting. It's really exciting to see it come full circle like that. I am really surprised to see plant-based burgers and things at Carl's Jr. and even KFC now has nuggets and everything. Like everyone is going to have some sort of vegan thing.
Freaking McDonald's now is trying to make, I think, their own plant burger, or they're teaming up with Beyond Meat or something.
yeah,
But man, I said it, like if McDonald's gets on board, that's it.
yeah,
That's end of story. Like everyone's going to be on board after that because they're the largest fast food chain out there.
yeah,
So I mean, it's amazing to see them get behind that because the demand is there.
yeah,
These are just businesses. They're not out to like destroy the planet. I mean, I'm sure there are a bunch of conspiracies out there. The way
yeah,
I think about it is, I think of it as just a business
yeah,
trying to make a profit, and they're going to give people what they demand. So I think
yeah.
more people are demanding it now, and what a better time than ever to be vegan.
Yeah, totally. Like I said, I tell people now there's just no excuses now. It's like, before I could kind of understand, like, oh, I don't know how to cook. I don't know what to do. But now it's like, no, I'm sorry. There's no excuses. You can go anywhere and do anything and have that, craving, whether it's a burger or whatever, in a plant based way. So I'm all for it. And yeah, I agree with you. It's a business and it just comes down to supply and demand. The more that we can demand it, the more that supply is going to increase. And that's exactly what's happening right now. I mean, more of the factory farms are going under and turning into mushroom farms or other things. I mean, just look at plant-based milks alone, right? Almond milk and things like that. I mean, for me, I cut out dairy for the first few years, and that was the biggest, component that I was really suffering from. And that really, I think most people are kind of onto that, even if they're not fully vegan or whatever. At least, the dairy consumption has gone way down. So it's really good to see that happening kind of on a mass scale and to see this happening, worldwide rather than just be that small little niche or that people were vegan or vegetarian. It was only for like rich people, and organic food and all of that stuff was like a very small niche, and people have really started connecting the dots. So it's cool.
I think dairy is the one that it's probably the easiest for people to kind of make the switch on.
Yeah.
I work with clients, I see clients for nutrition, and the first step that I hear them take towards veganism, even though their goal might not to be to go vegan, but what I'm saying is like they might change their diet, and typically switching to plant-based milk is the first positive step that I see. Because a lot of people realize that why are we drinking milk from another mammal? Milk is just designed to be fed to that mammal's baby, not to be given to another species. So I think a lot of people connect with that. And, the fact that it causes so many issues, that a lot of people are lactose intolerant or even allergic to milk protein, and switching to plant-based milk solves that. And it's much healthier for you. It has lower fat, no cholesterol, no added hormones. Like, it's the way to go. And speaking of like business wise, like, not to like drop names, I'm not like sponsored by anyone, but Oatly is killing it right now because they're putting ads everywhere. I was just in California last month, and everywhere you would go, you would see a billboard or like on a bus or a bench, like advertisements for oat milk. Like, what? Again, just like it shows you how the world's changing now. It's amazing.
It is. I think right now, especially as time going forward, like we just demand transparency. That's really the big, shift that's happened with all of this in any business, especially food products. So that's really where it comes down to. Obviously, the oat milk is way more sustainable, way more, nutrient dense than anything that comes from an animal. So I think people are just connecting those dots, and there's just, like I said earlier, there's no excuses. So they see that and they're like, okay, now I just, I'm going to go for the oat milk. It's cheaper. It's better for you. I mean, why, there's just all those dots just add up. So it's cool. It's something that, like I said, I've been doing kind of behind the scenes for so long, and then just to see it so readily available and everything, especially places like California or Portland, Oregon, or wherever, it's like all of this stuff is pretty much the norm. And I see the day where it's like we're looking back and it's like, wait, we were killing animals? Like, what's going on here? It's
back. They're gonna see it as like, in a way, kind of like the wars that we look at now back in the past, or the slavery or the injustice, all that. It's going to be tied in together with history. And I'm glad to see that the world is changing. I'm sure at any time of the world's lifetime, like there was always people that got it, but the majority were kind of always kind of in that mess, you know what I mean? But veganism is breaking through, and I'm super excited.
It is. It's because of the internet and everything too. That's kind of the major difference. Those big powers be, the meat and dairy companies have been playing so many hands in, marketing and leading these, fake studies and blah, blah, blah. So I think all of that, like I said, the transparency is out now because of the internet, because somebody can just get on their phone and Google it, that's a relatively new thing in that spectrum of mankind. So because we have all that power in our phone in our pocket now, you don't really have, any excuse to just do that other thing. Somebody can just pull it up, be like, nope, actually this is better for you, and and that's all it takes right there to sail the ship. So, well, I'm also, it's cool because I'm a fellow cyclist as well. I know you're into cycling. I'm more of the, I would call myself like an adventure cyclist. I like long distance. I've done lots of big rides like in the Pacific Northwest across multiple states and things like that. I love just being free on my bicycle, and the whole just workout movement, the sort of thing for me always falls in line with a bicycle. So that's just where I've been since childhood, and that's always resonated with me. And
I totally love biking, man. I used to live in Florida, and I got super into it. I would ride my bike like pretty much every day, ride in groups. I would race on the road. It's such a great sport, and the fact that you can be out in nature, you could go anywhere, you could cross states. That's amazing. I've never done long treks like that before. The longest ride I've ever done is 115 miles. It's not really that impressive in terms of cycling.
Oh, that's super impressive. What are you talking about? That's great for the average Joe. I mean, that's a lot of miles,
Yeah, but I mean, people are like killing it, and doing like rides across the country and things like that. So my style is more of like, I guess, a little bit competitive and to ride fast and all that. But you really could go anywhere with the sport. I'm not just talking about location, but just like You could go on the dirt. You could ride fast and short rides. You can like trek. You can commute.
Yeah.
Bicycle is just it's one of the greatest inventions that,
Yep.
and freaking love it, man.
Yeah, the electric bikes are really blowing up too. I got to ride one of those last year for the first time, and I was like, "Oh my!" It like really puts you back. You're like, "Oh, it felt like a little car," you know. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is crazy." So the technology is really taking over.
Where do you live, by the way?
I'm in Hawaii now. We moved
Oh,
to
right
Hawaii,
on.
yeah, full time in Hawaii now. But I'm born and raised in California, so
Oh,
I'm
okay.
from Northern California, Sacramento area.
Yeah. Do you know my friend Rain? He's at Cycling Spirit on Instagram.
I don't. Mm-mm.
He is from Hawaii, and I
Cool.
believe he visits back and forth. He lives in Miami now, and he's actually the founder of Miami Fruit.
Oh, okay. Yes. You should. I know that I've seen Miami Fruit before. I follow them on Instagram, I think. Yeah, that definitely rings a bell. They do the fruit delivery and all that. Yeah, sweet.
He's a killer cyclist, man. Like
Nice.
he is so fast and like will ride far too. Like he's like just casually, hey man, you want to go down the Keys? And like from Miami, it's like a good bit of distance. I'm like, are you kidding me? Just straight up like that. Okay. But no, he's a fast cyclist, and it was really cool meeting him in person, hanging out, but definitely riding with him.
Awesome. Yeah, dude, I'm all for it. I'm all for that networking and connection. That's great, dude. That'd be awesome. Cool. So let's. I'm just curious for people listening and watching. Let's give them a little tidbit as far as like somebody that just went vegan. I have a lot of people like let's say they went vegan last month or 3 months ago. Let's just give them some tips and tricks to kind of stay steady on the path. Especially. I mean, I'm jealous honestly of anybody going vegan right now because of all this. Transitional food is what I call it. Like these plant-based burgers and all that kind of stuff. There are seriously anything, hot dogs, whatever is plant-based now, and yes, it's there, it's good for us, it's something that I call it transitional food. Ideally we want that whole food kind of plant-based, just diet that's really going to get the most out of it, and we can talk about that. But just I know you're a master with nutrition, so let's just give somebody a little tips and tricks that are new to this.
Yeah, no need to complicate things. It's very
Yeah.
simple. I mean, if you have a craving in the beginning for like meat or cheese, like you mentioned, there's all these great products out there. Try them out. They're delicious, and you can't really tell that you're eating plants, which
Yeah.
is, in a way, it's amazing. So definitely incorporate that stuff in your diet. Ideally, health-wise, ideally, we want you on a whole food plant-based diet, eating lots of whole grains, legumes like beans, peas, lentils, fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, lots of water, and yeah, like you look up recipes like Forks Over Knives has a great website with a bunch of free recipes. I always kind of direct people there. I have a little ebook myself. If you're just curious, like what I personally eat, you can find that on my website. But if you're looking for a free resource, go to forksoverknives.com. If you need motivation, Forks Over Knives, the documentary is actually really good, and it
Yeah.
talks to you a lot about the health benefits of that, and has a lot of great people behind it, like Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Campbell, Dr. Barnard, and these innovators in terms of nutritional advice. They're amazing. So if you're looking for an educational source, that's a good one. Just keep it simple. Like eat the same
I
things
agree.
over and over again. Everyone stresses variety, which variety is a good thing. You don't want to just eat one food the rest of your life, but you typically end up getting enough variety if you have like 2-3 recipes, maybe a little bit more than that you kind of like rotate. So
Yeah.
kind of pick your favorite foods, make them over and over again. You're going to like what you're eating, and you're
Yeah.
going to get plenty of nutrition in. Just don't make the mistake that most people make, where they think, I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to eat just vegetables and some fruit, which, I mean, some people can pull that off, but for the majority, it's not enough calories. You're going to get hungry, and you're going to binge. And hopefully it would be a vegan binge, but most people end up just going back to their old lifestyle.
Yeah.
Veganism, that plant-based diet didn't work out for me. I ate salad every day. I ate healthy food every day, but it just didn't work out for me. No, it's because you didn't get enough calories to keep you satisfied. So you gotta put in those whole grains. Beans, fruits are great. You could do smoothies or fruit salads, but make sure you're getting all the different food groups, and then throw them all in recipes that you enjoy. So if you don't like straight up beans and rice, make chili, or turn it into hummus or something, like find your favorite recipes, customize it for your palate, and just keep it simple.
Yeah, totally. I completely agree with that. And that's something, thank you for mentioning that as far as the binge eating and stuff too. I see that happening quite a bit. And it's something that people are just not getting enough calories. They don't, like I said, for me in the beginning, I didn't know what I was doing. It was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I ate like 4 or 5 of those in one sitting because that's all I knew that was vegan as far as the options that were available to me. So it's just about what works for you and the passion. I think that's the big link there is if you like bananas, just eat a bunch of bananas. If you like that one, legume or whatever it might be in that recipe, then just make it and go for it. It's always going to be what you're passionate about, what you're excited about eating, not so much, I feel like vegan, especially in the beginning, a lot of people just think restriction, they think like, oh, I can't have all of this and I can't have that. It's like, dude, there's like Ben and Jerry's ice cream that's vegan now and like anything,
Now there's like so many different options. Restriction is no longer an excuse for veganism. And it's not like you can't really, I don't know, if you're eating a meat-based diet, like some things you have to like cut back on for your health. There's just like no other way around it. Science is science. The truth is the truth. You cannot change your physiology because you believe meat is good. There's only one way your body works. Okay, so you have to like cut out certain things, but in the grand scheme of things, there is no restriction. Like you can eat. There's so many different varieties of plants. I mean, if you look at fruit alone and you eat one new fruit every day for the rest of your life, you won't eat all the fruits that ever exist. Just looking at fruits. Now imagine all the different plants out there. So eat the foods that you enjoy the most, and experiment. Try new things that you haven't tried before. I mean, before I went vegan, I never had durian or jackfruit or stuff like that. Like that's not restriction to me. I saw it as an opportunity to explore other foods that I never tried before.
Yeah, me too.
So for me, the whole restriction thing never made sense because I was eating things that I'd never eaten before.
Yeah, me too, 100%. There was, after being vegan, it's something that opened me up to a lot of other things that I just didn't even know existed, like durian and jackfruit and those things. I mean, jackfruit, I feel like has come full circle, and that's like, there's jackfruit recipes everywhere now, like even savory, tacos and pulled pork type things. And it's like, it's something that one fruit alone has really come into the vegan scene and changed everything, So it's good to see this awareness happen. The thing that I see a lot too is people, broaden your horizons from just the grocery store as well. Like for me, I worked at grocery stores. I've worked at a lot of farms. That's kind of my passion. My first job when I was 14 was picking peaches and plums, and that's kind of what I've always been doing. The last farm I ran was like a citrus farm that was absolutely amazing with 2,500 fruit trees and just loving life. The thing that like what I'm getting to is that people just there's more variety out there than just what you see at the grocery store. And being vegan, being into agriculture and just farming in general, that led me to go out to these farms directly, or even just get to the farmers market and talking to these people, getting a relationship with the people that actually grow your food versus mindlessly just going to the grocery store, getting your shopping list sort of thing. That is going to allow you to eat more seasonally, more in tune with the exact environment that you live in, and get the ultimate, nutritional density right there because you're actually connected with your local landscape.
Yeah, and you save a lot of money too if you shop locally. I mean, a lot of the majority of the price you pay for at the supermarket is for transportation. You save a whole lot when you buy from a local farmer. You buy in bulk. He'll cut you some deals here and there. And you support local business. It's amazing. You have to do that, and it definitely benefits everything. The environment, businesses, your wallet. So yeah, definitely. Whole Foods is cool, Mom's is cool, but definitely get out there and try different things in terms of like where you shop. So farmers markets are excellent.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's something that I tapped into. That's people, like I said, they're always asking things, and I feel like I just want to, debunk a lot of those things. Like veganism is expensive, right? That's one of them. Like, boom, we just debunked it. Like, it's not actually. If you go to the farmers market or you buy in bulk, and especially fruit and things that are like, have a shelf life, So you go there and you can see they're kind of getting soft and ripe. It's like that's going to be way discounted compared to the stuff that just got trucked in at the grocery store. So little tips like that I've been doing for a long time that has definitely made it way cheaper and more, it's better for you too. That's the other thing. It's like that fruit that's ripe is obviously better for you. That's honestly my biggest pet peeve is seeing people eat unripe fruit, man. Yeah. Yeah. I worked at Whole Foods for 2 years in California, and I would see people come up and grab a green banana on their lunch break or whatever, and I'm like, oh my God, like I would just yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a super big one. I mean, not only is it not good for you, but you're just not getting the nutrients. I mean, the starches haven't converted. There's nothing there. It's quite funny to me, but I just get it because of the the world that we live in. It's very convenient. It has to be very quick and this and that. So it's like you get what you pay for, sort of thing.
For sure. And also before, when you were mentioning about like price and stuff, sometimes people will say meat and dairy is cheaper than like their vegan alternatives. And if you compare price tag to price tag, it might be, but that's because a lot of that is subsidized.
Exactly.
So meaning the taxpayer pays for it anyway, and the government lowers the price because of it. And so if it was not like that, it would be much more expensive and more like much less people would be buying meat and dairy.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And when you really go down the rabbit hole with all that, it's amazing how many, people's hands are in each other's pockets, sort of thing. And it's crazy what they allow into all of that as far as making it subsidized and things. It just doesn't make any sense to me at all how we live in that world, especially when you think about the corn and the soy and all the other stuff too on the vegetable side that gets subsidized. That is not even for humans anyway. So it's very interesting, this really weird world that we got ourselves in with, GMO, Monsanto, chemical, just artificial world that we have now, unfortunately. So that's why, that's a big part of why I'm here in Hawaii and think like a lot of the stuff that I do is trying to really create that environment for myself to have that ultimate nutrition and lifestyle. So that's something I think people could relate with as far as just creating that environment that you can access all these foods to. I've lived all over too. I mean, even in Alaska, I was completely vegan and stuff. Like there's no excuses, it's something that it's pretty much available anywhere in any state. So you can really connect with that local farmer and get the best nutrition that you can.
Yeah. And now that you like brought up, your farm and stuff like that, like even gardening, like when the seasons permits, it's so cool to grow your own tomatoes or something. Like helps you cut back on your grocery bill, but you also eat something that you can pick right then and there. Yeah. It's amazing. A lot of people do not garden, and I'll admit, like I could do much more. But yeah, just another great idea for people to do is to get involved with gardening and grow your own food.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I completely agree with that. All right, let's talk a little bit about just supplements real quick. I think a lot of people are confused or they hear about like B12 or something, something like that as far as being vegan or just nutrient deficiencies all around. Let's kind of debunk that a little bit because I think that's a big topic that people hear about as soon as the word vegan comes up.
Sure. B12 is typically like the go-to answer, like, I got it. B12, you cannot be vegan. And so like it's even like they'll say like protein and stuff, but B12 it's like boom. Yeah. So with B12, there's different sources of cobalamin that we ingest, and that cobalamin bacteria will use to make vitamin B12 in our body. Mm-hmm. B12 is not made by animals it's made by bacteria. And so the reason why it's in animal products, in meat and stuff, is because that cow or that pig was eating bacteria off the ground and producing that in its body. We can do it too, but however, our environment is not what it used to be, and also we live indoors, like we're not out all day. So I would advise people to take a B12 supplement. It's pretty safe. It's relatively safe, and it guarantees that you're going to get enough B12 to avoid the terrible neurological problems that you might have from not taking it. Fortunately, it takes a long time for that to happen, and you can run your blood work every year to kind of monitor your B12. I think that I think checking your blood work is definitely a good idea, at least yearly. So now I don't care too much about the controversy about the different types of B12s. But in general, from what I found is that methylcobalamin is absorbed a little bit more efficiently by the body than hydroxycobalamin, and I'm blanking out on the other one.
Those are the two big.
Cyanocobalamin.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's the one. So yeah, those three. But take whichever one. Maybe the cheapest, or if you want to go with methylcobalamin, totally cool. But just take it is what I recommend.
Yeah, it's definitely easier and safe. I used one from Global Healing Center. I would say the next one would be iodine. That's sort of the biggest one that I see. That as far as I mean, that would be for anybody too. I mean, meat eating or not. Those are probably the biggest one. The next thing we can talk about is the big protein myth. I feel like that's something that comes up a lot. Like, dude, where do you get your protein, bro? That sort of whole thing that comes up all the time. And there's this bigger marketing, scheme happening all the time everywhere. I feel like as soon as that happens. That's been probably, I don't know, at least 5 years now, where I feel like protein is just on everything. Freaking every granola bar, everything that you see all of a sudden has protein, like the word protein on it. And it's like, wait, why is that there? Or like gluten-free, same thing. It's like they put the word gluten-free on, a bottle of water or something. And it's like, wait a minute. Well, just because people are aware about gluten now doesn't mean that everything else has to be gluten-free,
For sure. Like, it's become this marketing term. Like, if you look at, like, let's say like a granola bar with like a bunch of different stuff in it, like raisins and I don't know, oats and stuff, then you see protein on the outside. But why am I not hearing about the vitamin C in the raisins or the fiber or any, you know what I mean? The whole protein thing's kind of ridiculous, and the fact that it's still like something that people bring up, it's kind of scary. So you could definitely get enough protein on a 100% vegan diet. If you want to debunk this like in an instant, just buy Beyond Meat burgers. If that's how worried you are, it's got just about the same or even more. I forget the comparison, but might be about the same as a regular burger, like a meat-based burger. So you could eat that instead. You get enough protein. However, if you want to go whole food, plant-based, like there's protein in everything, even vegetables, fruits, all that adds up. But majority of your diet, what I recommend at least, and I recommend getting mostly like whole grains in, like starches, beans, all that stuff's going to have a lot of protein. And then definitely eating lots of fruits and vegetables too. And you can have nuts too, and like nut butters and all that has protein. So like at the end of the day, you're getting enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I honestly, I don't know like how people will bring it up in this day and age, with all the vegan alternatives and even just like the knowledge out there that all plant foods have. Now, there's this other thing where they say they're not complete proteins. Right. But again, every single plant out there has every single essential amino acid that you need, just in different ratios.
Exactly.
So if you're eating a variety, and again, it doesn't have to be a crazy variety, but just enough, the different food groups that we talked about, you're going to get all the essential amino acids.
Yeah, and you said the key word right there, amino acid. I think for me, that's the word that needs to be recognized and not the protein part. And if you really go down the rabbit hole, that's really what needs to be addressed here. And the other thing is proteins, I would say, are just, they're not all equal. You know, you people like, I honestly don't like the macro, calorie, FDA, food pyramid thing, just because when people get, it's like very shallow approach, and something like inflammation, I think people are aware about now. Like that's a word that is kind of caught up into the mainstream, and protein is a good example where those two sources are going to create different levels of inflammation depending on what it is. So I think pea protein is a very common thing that's just added into a lot of these things, and that's very different than that burger with the protein. Yes, you can use that same word protein, but like I said, is it going to create an inflammatory response? That's a different question. So that's where it comes down to the amino acids, and just looking at a little bit more than just the surface there than the word protein, and digging a little bit deeper to understand these building blocks in order to create that healthy body that we want.
Absolutely. And also just like looking at the food as a whole package rather than just protein, because let's say like some bodybuilder out there is looking at their whey protein thing, and they're like, oh, it's got like an amazing amino acid profile, like this is great for me. However, like there's other things in there besides protein, buddy. That protein is not going to be good for your arteries. It's not going to be good for cancer prevention. If you're lactose intolerant or whatever, like it's just, you got to look at a food as the whole package rather than just a protein source or a vitamin C source. So like I think Dr. Campbell talks a lot about this a lot. It's called reductionism, or like a reductionist point of view. Basically not to like look at specific nutrients, but a symphony of all these nutrients working together. And that's what a whole food plant-based diet is. So, if you're struggling with all these problems, get in the point of view where you're looking at whole foods, because, you're not going to go insane with all these different little things that people are pointing out to you, when at the end of the day, a whole food plant-based diet pretty much has everything, and, a little bit of B12 here and there is not going to hurt you either.
Yeah, totally. That's how I look at it too. I love Dr. Campbell and all those things. I look at this as a holistic approach. We need to really target this from all angles, and for me, it just comes back to nature. I think at the end of the day, trusting nature and trusting this earth to provide for us rather than something synthetic or chemical based, so that's really where it gets interesting, especially when you talk about supplements or, protein or whatnot. It's like, yes, you can get that from a whole food source, which is going to be way more digestible. You're going to assimilate the nutrients a lot more easily than you would if it was in this big, concentrated chemical lab created thing. So just throwing that out there. The last thing that I can think about that's kind of on people's wave, as far, because we live in this, keto fat world now, as far as being very popular in the trends. And I feel like the DHA gets thrown around a lot, and that's something that I think people are aware of when it comes to having the right amount of fats and the omega-3 to 6 ratio. And let's just talk about that a little bit, because I think a lot of people are on this keto, bandwagon because of the ketogenesis, the kind of science that's out there, and different things. At the end of the day, like I said, it's like, are you going to create that inflammatory response and do more damage to yourself, or are you just going to get the right balance of nutrients and protein, everything that you need in a whole food format, and that way you're good to go?
Sure, that is another one. DHA or omega-3s are brought up in terms of the vegan diet. I interviewed Dr. Milton Mills. There's a video on my YouTube channel. It's really good. It goes super in depth. A very knowledgeable guy on that topic.
Cool.
From what I know, the little that I know, and I'm not a biochemist or anything like that, so forgive me, but I'm pretty sure that EPA comes from plants. And the DHA would come from, like, let's say like fish or fish oil.
Yeah.
However, if our bodies are relatively healthy and we get enough EPA from plants, we can convert it just like fish can to DHA, and we would get enough. Dr. Greger, I believe he recommends a few supplements, believe it or not. So he recommends B12, vitamin D, and also I think a plant-based version of a DHA. He says everyone should be getting these just to assure that you're getting enough through your diet. But I don't know. I've ran the numbers, and it's pretty darn easy to get enough omega-3 in a vegan diet. So you could do things like flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts are excellent, and plus all the other different foods that you eat. So you go on chronometer.com and open yourself an account, and just put in what you eat in a day, and look at the profile. Look at the omega-3s too. If you eat lots of or just a little bit of flax and chia, you should be getting enough. And then what else was I gonna say? I think I lost my train of thought. But anyhow, it's just another easy situation here where if you eat these healthy foods, you're gonna end up getting enough. I know what I was gonna say is that what's important is also the ratio of omega-3 to omega-6. Most of us, most of the population gets too much omega-6, which is found in refined oils and fats. And once your ratio goes off, then you start seeing health problems. So it's not so much of getting enough omega-3s. It's just keeping it in a 1-to-4 ratio, which I don't know who came up with that, but that seems to be the consensus of how it should be. So that's the little knowledge that I have on the topic.
Oh, you're spot on.
Yeah, flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts. I mean, they're great for you, so why not include them in your diet?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the whole connecting the dots as far as that food being your medicine too. I think that's something as far as just proclaiming the whole food plant-based diet, because that's something at the end of the day where you can be like, oh, okay, I'm getting in this and it works. I think the big thing with the 6-to-3 ratio is because the average American is getting all of their calories from canola oil. That's really the kicker right now, is a lot of processed food, a lot of things come from canola oil, and unfortunately, I mean, that's not even a food for humans at all, and it's just really terrible all around. So something as simple as that, like just cutting out canola oil, will get that ratio back in line right there without really focusing on the omega-3s. So I think that's just a big component. The only thing I think I would add to is the things like spirulina, algae, and different things. That's like the DHA sourced as well, that people can obviously throw in a scoop of spirulina in their smoothie, sort of thing. That will really bump it up. I mean, and that has B12 and protein, all the other stuff we mentioned too. So this is where it kind of cross-references into the ethics, right? Into the other side of life, because obviously, it's much more sustainable to grow an algae that's, pretty much available. I give a blue Hawaiian brand that's grown right here in Hawaii, that's local and amazing, versus, killing a sentient being to get that, So that's where I think that really cross-references, like that person that's, being vegan because they want to lose weight, but then all of a sudden they do the research about the omegas, and it's like, okay, I'm actually just going to get this spirulina powder rather than that other form that I was getting before with my meat-based diet.
It's so awesome that we can do this. We can be vegans and be healthy.
Yeah.
Naturally our bodies are designed to eat plants. Like, I'm fortunate about that. Like if somebody just before, even if I was vegan, right, I walked down the street and they asked me, if you could be vegan and eat plants and never have to kill animals again, when you want to do it? Like, I would be like, in theory, yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't miss meat, and they would educate me like, oh, there's a bunch of stuff out now. But like, why not? Like, why not live a life where you don't have to take a life?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. For me, getting all of this as well, I'm a yoga teacher and I teach meditation, and, we can talk about that a little bit too with your Greek background, because like I said, when you go deeper down this rabbit hole, you really understand that it's more than just food, That's why I created my channel and everything. I could easily just be some vegan, like raw vegan, whatever channel, but at the end of the day, I want to talk about spirituality and talk about that bigger picture, because it's affecting your performance. And for me, I can remember like a specific meditation that I was doing where a lot of like the anxiety, a lot of the issues, emotional traumas and things, that I was feeling wasn't coming from me. It was coming from those animals that I was putting in my body. So took me a lot of, practice and discipline to be able to understand that, whereas most people are just in that zombie mode, just mindlessly consuming, and it's because they're not connecting those dots. So, and for you, like I said, it's so cool to, come about it as far as just that 40-day fast. I mean, many, there's Ramadan, there's many different, religious practices that have that as far as, ingrained in their just system. And for at the end of the day, you have to ask, like, why, why would somebody want to do that, especially before Easter and before these, specific days and events where we should all be communing together as brothers and sisters and coming together for the greater good of humanity.
Yeah, for sure. I'm not a preacher, nor am I super religious. But like, yeah, let's take the Easter example. Like, you're celebrating Christ rising, right?
Yeah.
Rising from the dead.
Yeah.
Like, why are you serving a dead animal? Like, it makes no sense to me, man. It makes no sense. Like, I think that dinner should be a peaceful dinner, something to celebrate life, right? Not to celebrate death. Like, the whole rising is life again. I'm not super religious again, but I totally think people should connect spiritually with this, because there's more to life than just being alive. Your actions affect the outside world.
Yes. I'm not saying you don't have to be religious or whatever. We don't have to go there. I just mean as far as what you're feeling, like I can guarantee you, and you can talk about it if you want, but just you're getting more than just like a six pack, from being vegan. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is. Yeah, exactly. For me, that's what kind of threw me over the edge with this. Like I said, that meditation is like, sure, I can eat it and do it, but it's like, wow, he's connecting these dots for the mental clarity, and just the exact energy that you're putting out into the universe is completely different because of what your body is made of. You are what you eat, quite literally, to the most nth degree. And when your cells have that violence, have that death in them, it's like you're reverberating that energy out into the universe and attracting that same thing. So the more, the way that I look at it is, without getting religious or anything, it's just the word purification, right? That's what we're doing, is we're purifying our temple, we're purifying our body in order to handle this higher consciousness, this energy that is available to us. So I think that's what's exciting right now is, like I said, I have so many friends that are vegan, and it's like, whether you're activist, whether you're this fruitarian person, whether you're coming at it from any point of view, it's like we can all relate as far as, getting more than just, what we're eating out of it. There's a bigger picture that we're all tapping into.
Yeah, for sure. This is way more than just like my health. Like, I took it upon me to be a good steward of this planet and not to harm animals. I don't want to like be biting into my food and then having to have that guilt. Even before, actually, when I would eat meat, I can't say I felt guilty, but right now I'm probably more conscious of what I do. That's the trick, man.
Exactly.
It's like, before, I would bite into a burger without any consciousness besides what's on the surface. Like, oh, this tastes good. Like, this makes me feel good. That's all surface. Now it's deep, man. Like I have a connection with my food, and like I feel good about every bite that I take, because it stands for something,
Yeah. Oh, totally. And that's what I'm saying. It's so much more than what your health, and you can feel it. You can feel this. And that's beautifully put, what you said as far as the surface, because I was in the same way. It's just like zombie mode. You're going through the drive-through, you get the burger, it tastes good, whatever, and that's it. There's nothing about it. So once you kind of make that switch into being vegan, it's like you care, like you actually have some passion, and you're raising your own consciousness. And then it's just a side effect because it's contagious, right? Because people see you, you're full of energy, you're excited about life, and they're going to ask you questions like, oh, what did you do? Oh, actually, I went vegan and I eat this plant-based burger now, or whatever it is. And it's contagious because people want happiness, people want to feel good.
And like, that's why I always wear the hat. Like, oh, what does that V stand for? It stands for vegan or veganism, you know what I mean? Like, anytime I have a meal, like, people will see it, and like we'll talk about it. There's always a way to kind of like bring this up and share the message without telling somebody don't eat meat. Like, what you're doing is like, still treating the person as a person. But I freaking love using any opportunity I can to kind of mention it and kind of grow a seed in somebody's head that later on they could like think about it.
Totally. They're going to definitely water that seed, and eventually they're going to connect those dots, whether it's just seeing somebody at the drive-through get the plant-based option, or somebody at the dinner table, or anything. I definitely went through that vegan police phase the first couple of years, where you're just you're honestly just frustrated about life. You figure out about factory farming, you figure out about all the things that are happening. You're just pissed off at the world, and you just want to tell people like, hey, put down the cheeseburger, sort of thing. Obviously that didn't get me anywhere. That honestly took backward steps in my life, because I tell people, if you have anything to defend, then you're kind of not confident in your own path right there. And it wasn't until I fully kind of let go of all that and just became myself and do me, then now people ask me questions now more than ever. And it's just because I have nothing to prove here. I'm not to me, it's obvious. It's very obvious. And I feel like it's just an evolution of the soul. Like, people that they're gonna connect these dots eventually, one way or another. I don't have anything to push on them. I just want to provide that space for people to come to when they have that light bulb moment. They're like, wow, okay, this is harming my body, this is harming the planet, what do I do about this? And then boom, people can go to our YouTube channels or watch our podcast, whatever sort of thing, and just, there you go, now you're in the circle, and you have people, you have information, you have science, you have whatever credibility you need in order to keep you on the path.
I agree 100%. I think like a lot of us kind of go through that phase where we're kind of like angry or triggered in the beginning because we're just exposed to everything, and we want to get this info out there. And after a while, like you chill out, because I mean, it's just your lifestyle, it's who you are, you accept that, and you just start living, and that's like the real beauty. So I've gotten away from that to myself, and I'm much happier where I am now, where I could just share it as part of a conversation. But yeah, you have to keep evolving, just like with anything, and keep changing as a person, and building your character.
Yeah, totally. Well, awesome, man. This has been fun. I don't want to take too much more of your time. Thank you so much for being here. Let's plug your channel. Let's plug all the stuff that you're doing out there in the digital webs. And how can people find you?
Yeah, for sure. You can find me anywhere at Bananiac. So that's BANANIAC. Follow my stuff if you dig it. I post videos. I'm trying to do a weekly thing. It's so hard to keep up with everything going on, man. Yeah. But I try to do weekly videos on anything veganism. So I might vlog, showing a little bit of my personal lifestyle, what I do throughout the day. I might do a response video. So like the Amazon rainforest was burning a couple weeks ago. Probably is not doing too much better now. Yeah. So if things like that come up, I kind of like want to get it out there. I'm about to do a video on Greta. I forget how to.
Oh yeah, Thunberg, yeah. Oh yeah.
And who's killing it, and she's also vegan too. Mm-hmm. So different current events that are going on. I want to talk about that in case like other people are not aware that things like that are happening. I do nutrition videos, recipe videos here and there. So I try to do a variety of stuff. So if you want to find me, it's Bananiac again on YouTube. I do interviews. So feel free to say hi and connect.
Awesome.
But yeah, thank you so much for having me on here, by the way. I can't say it again, man. Like, thank you for giving me your platform to share this message. Like any opportunity I can get to get this out there is a freaking blessing, and it's been awesome connecting with you too, man.
Yeah, brother, I'm all for it, dude. The more we can talk about it, the more that bubble, ripple effect happens into the universe, and people are connecting the dots, dude. It's just exciting time to be alive right now.
Absolutely, man. Well, yeah, keep killing it, dude. Keep pushing the message out there, and keep in touch, man.
Yeah, for sure. For definitely, man. So yeah, I'll link all of that stuff too in the description, everybody, so people can just find you really easily and click on your links. And yeah, you as well, keep up the good stuff, man. I know you're putting a lot of good energy out into the universe, and it's gonna come right back at you. So just keep up the good work, man.
Appreciate it, man.